Hey, what's up, everybody? This week is super exciting because Microsoft continues to try and push down AI features that nobody wants, but they really hope you stop talking about that and want them. It seems like every week more and more, we continue to see these features get pushed down that break systems, that cause reboots, and all sorts of havoc when people just want to use their computer. And that's the trend we're going to continue to see as Microsoft seeks to increase their stock valuation at the expense of normal desktop users. So as you probably know, my channel is called Linux, by the way, and I posted a couple of videos about this topic and they really blew up. And that's because people are starting to form an exit strategy. They definitely want to push back on Microsoft, but they don't want to upend their whole lives. They've been using Windows for a while, they like Windows and it works well for them, but they can't stay on Windows and be productive with this method of constantly deploying updates which are breaking things. And so the term microslop came out in the internet, which is like AI updates getting pushed out without really being tested or anything. It's just basic novice type level programming where they're breaking all sorts of different systems and workflows. And this is happening more and more regularly. And people are just looking for stability. They want to make sure that they have their freedom and their privacy, and that not only are you not prompted every second to find a way to give them money. Hey, would you like Game Pass? Hey, would you like OneDrive? Hey, would you like to upload your typing data? All sorts of that type of stuff. People are looking to just get away from because it's just annoying. And in the Linux sphere, we're seeing a number of surprising people start adopting Linux who were really Windows diehards or Windows Forever type people, but they need to use their computers. And Windows is just not tailored for that anymore. Their eye is not on the ball. They're not looking at the average consumer. I mean, have you seen the Surface products lately? They almost want you to forget about them, right? They close their retail stores. They're not leading in any category whatsoever. They're just sort of out there, right? And if you're like a serious computer user, you're probably picking up a ThinkPad or an Asus Zephyrus or any of those type of systems, or now even Dell brought the XPS back. And so Microsoft just isn't focused on this the way they once were, and that's because they need to have billion-dollar businesses, and some of these businesses are loss leaders, right? They have to invest in the hardware to grow the ecosystem, but they never quite do that, and so the ecosystem never grows, so they never hit the threshold, so then they try to cut down the business. And you see this in Xbox and all sorts of verticals, whereas with AI, they have this huge speculative investment where it can grow to multiple billions of dollars, and they can also put that money more flexibly in different places because it's a growth bet, right? They don't know where it's going to go, and so they invest in OpenAI and they invest over here and there, and they tell investors, well, this is going to be huge one day, and so we're going to go there now. But what that means is that the Windows division just continues to go down, 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 down in quality as they're focused on their data centers and their GPU capabilities and all sorts of things like that. This week, Microsoft rolled out KB 507-4109, and the important unexpected thing here is that users are reporting if they're running NVIDIA cards that it slowed down their system. Some are even reporting a drop of up to 15 to 20 FPS. So now users are sort of forced to pick between, do we fix the 114 security vulnerabilities, or do I have my PC perform the same as it did? This is very reminiscent of late last year when they pushed out this other update, which slowed down a bunch of games. And it took a long time to figure it out and to get this all fixed and back up to normal speed again. The actual article on Gaming Bolt says not fit for purpose at this point in time, along with that KB patch silently destroyed performance in at least 2 games. And these performance regressions are not 1 or 2 frames a second. Sometimes they're huge, right? So this one was 206% faster once they fixed it, which is a good way of saying they broke it really bad, and then they fixed it and went back to normal speed again. If you install the same update that the NVIDIA users are reporting slowed their system down, well, it may have also broken Outlook Classic for you. In this case, PC World reports that Microsoft's KB 507-4109 Windows 11 update is causing Outlook freezing issues, prompting the company to offer temporary workarounds. And they say here that moving the PST file away from OneDrive can resolve the freezing problem, and businesses can contact Microsoft for urgent support. And so again, we have this sort of like, the update's bad, and then there's OneDrive involved in this, and people just want to read their email, and email's been around for a while, and this should be a very stable thing. More importantly, from a software engineering standpoint, it should have lots of tests. So whether you're using AI to code, or interns, or even experts, whatever it may be that caused this, well, you should have a whole test suite that runs whenever you make a change, which means your email doesn't break. And so we're missing some of that here because these updates are just coming down and they're not really being thoroughly tested as we see from the users who are being impacted by it. This update was enough problems also that it may have impacted Dropbox too. So if you were like, oh, I'm going to use Dropbox instead of OneDrive, well, Microsoft still got it with this update. Windows Central also notes that the company does not have a permanent fix, and the workaround may be complicated. So they haven't solved this or been able to roll it back. That's one of the reasons people are looking for alternatives, because they didn't want to do stuff like this. People bought Windows because it was supposed to just work, and they were supposed to just be secure and be able to run their stuff, and they don't have to be an IT expert. But that promise is being broken very frequently now. In case you found this video looking for help on this, I'm not sure I can help you. So what Microsoft says is that if you have this update, try and uninstall it. But what Microsoft also says is that Windows 11 won't let some users uninstall it. So you may be stuck. We'll have to see how this unfolds. At this point, I would recommend do not update until they get this all worked out. While we're on the topic of the promised land of AI writing all the code for the desktop that's happening to us, we see over here that they have used Microsoft Copilot to wrongly ban football fans. And so in this case, the West Midlands Police used AI to wrongly categorize and ban fans instead of actually doing an investigation of their job and everything. And this is really a one-to-one mapping with software development. So people are skipping traditional software development where they have somebody who knows the software, who knows the tests, who knows what integration is, and running all those cycles. And they're like, just prompt it, just vibe it, just send it out. But people actually rely on this stuff. People do need to use their systems and check things. And oftentimes people even paid thousands of dollars for this stuff. And so there's very few things you buy in life that just randomly break every week, right? If you think of all the things you own, hopefully things like your toaster doesn't break randomly or your sink doesn't break randomly. They all break from use over time, sure. They're not just being broken week after week after week, or even worse, adding features that you don't want week after week after week. We should be able to opt out of that somehow and just say, hey, I just want the system as I bought it. And I don't opt in to forever having my day disrupted over and over again with things I didn't ask for. The cultural shift online has been pretty massive just in the past couple months. So we see Linus Tech Tips running through GPU benchmarks with Intel, AMD, and NVIDIA on Linux. And you're seeing that become very mainstream because, especially for gaming, if you want to set it and forget it, well, as long as your games are on Steam, you're good. If they're on Epic, you're stuck because Epic really doesn't support Linux very well, especially for things like Fortnite and things like that. But with Steam, you can just point and click and most things work, even if they're only Windows native. I made a video on gaming benchmarks, and you can see I'm running all sorts of Windows games. Most of them work. Skyrim didn't, but I was running a 5K display, and so you can check that out if you're interested. Some other good news is that because of all the people starting to use Linux, we're seeing a bit of a snowball effect. So every week things are getting faster, they're getting easier, and there's all sorts of people who weren't using Linux before starting to contribute to it. And so you're just seeing all of these problems being answered or addressed in ways, and you're seeing better driver support. And most of the things you can buy now do support Linux, which is great. I picked up a ThinkPad and it just worked, but you can also now get a framework desktop or laptop. Those work great. And there's actually a lot of manufacturers out there that support Linux out of the box. I've also been to Micro Center and I bought 2 PowerSpec desktops recently. Both work perfectly. They did have NVIDIA cards, but AMD or Intel cards would have also worked just fine. It's going to be really interesting to see how all this unfolds. So we've been through this before with Windows 8. Windows 8 was really off the rails. People didn't like it. And then they came back with Windows 10 and said, look, we fixed everything. We focused on the user. You're going to like it. But then they forced everybody to upgrade to Windows 11. And then once everybody's on Windows 11, well, they just keep sending these updates down over and over again, and it's not getting better over time. And so the question is will Microsoft take that feedback and make sure that the testing process is more robust, that all the integrations are tested, that various hardware combinations are tested, so that people can trust the updates, but then also make things optional so that we don't have to worry about things like, oh, all of a sudden, OneDrive is back on again, and all of a sudden, you're opted into Microsoft Recall, and all of a sudden, now your notepad is AI, when I just want to write text. I don't need any connectivity to write text. I never should. And that's sort of the promise that was made when we started using Notepad. It was just a simple editor. And if they want to make a new AI editor, they should do that in a whole brand new application with a whole name, instead of just changing everything out from underneath everybody. It's worth pointing out that Microsoft is the company that missed mobile. There's iOS and there's Android, and Microsoft isn't in that conversation. So that's why they're going after AI, right? They have this huge FOMO, like, we can't miss the next thing, we can't miss the next thing. but they're sacrificing the current thing that they were winning on, which is a real problem. See that Apple continues to do really well in the consumer segment, so they're almost at the same market share of processors as AMD is, which started from zero, right? So back in like 2018, 2019, they were still making these Intel machines, and since then they've shifted to the M series processors, which are great on performance and battery life, and they are excellent processors that are some of the fastest you can buy. So as Microsoft continues to push users away in these other directions, people are just gonna go, you know what? I don't wanna deal with any of this. I'm just gonna get an $800 MacBook Air. And when you read some of the Apple complaints online, make no mistake, they're not in the same category or even the same universe as Windows complaints, because what people in Apple are complaining about is like liquid glass isn't perfect design. There's some pixels off here and there. There's some mouse touch targets that are a little bit off. Maybe the menu options are like a pixel not aligned, because they're used to excellent design for decades, right? So these complaints in the Windows world, they wouldn't even know where to start, because you can nitpick OS X because it's been great. It's amazing in most respects. And for the average consumer, yeah, it works seamlessly with their iPhone and everything just works. They continue to grow in market share. The battery lasts all day, and the updates also just work while also respecting your privacy. Sure, you have to have an iCloud account, which is like a Microsoft account, but you can just opt out of all that. Try and install Windows right now and opt out of all that, you're gonna get stuck. It's worth noting with all this AI coding that Linux is actually in the best position, because even if you go Apple, it's still closed source. It means you can't change things, you have to accept their updates. So with the AI, Claude Code, and all these different things you're seeing online, well, you could continue to enhance Linux, enhance the designs, make things more user-friendly, because you can change anything you want on there, which is one of the reasons people like it, is because you won't pay a fee to somebody, you won't get stuck with an update you don't like, and if you ever did, you own it, you control it, you can change it. And that's really where Linux is seeing adoption here, and especially with like the no-nonsense gamers. But now also increasingly, we're also seeing creative professionals and just people who have free will, right? People who are like, you know what? I don't want to deal with these big corporations and all of their agendas and their stock prices and everything, because it's my computer. I'm a consumer, I own it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What OS are you going with? Are you hoping Microsoft fixes things up? Are you just going to say I'm done with it and going Apple? Or are you picking a distribution? You can see I'm running Omarchy here. It's running great. I don't recommend it for newbies, but if you're a SRE or a DevOps person or something like that, it's pretty awesome. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next one. Later.